Shalom brothers and sisters who have arrived here on this video, on this channel. I'll quickly do the video I just finished doing in Portuguese for you guys also to understand what are the things that I reveal to them that speak Portuguese. Basically, I have confirmations in the Bible and also personal revelations through, from Jesus to me that reveals the correct date to begin Shavuot, which means Pentecost, which will be the 15th, and the third day will be the 17th day of June of this year, which is the day we can expect the rapture of the church. And I'll be showing you guys very quickly here the things that God showed me and the things in the Bible that shows this date, so you guys can understand here. So first, remember the same spirit that came is the same spirit that will return to God when He comes. Just like the story of Enoch, he was raptured on the same day that he was born. So the church was born most likely on this day, on the Feast of Weeks, 50 days after Passover. And then what happens? The same day that the church was born is the same day that the church will leave. So the spirit that came on that day will leave on that day as well, and that points to 15th of June, the full moon. If you guys remember, I have showed you this graph before on the video in English. We can't stretch any longer. Unfortunately, I didn't translate this here in English. I didn't have enough time to translate it, but I will explain to you in English as you are reading here, seeing here in Portuguese. So remember that we are exactly here at this moment of time that will fulfill prophecy, Micah 7, Songs of Solomon 2. The correct moment of time when that's gonna happen to fulfill that prophecy is right now, where we are on the third month in June, before and after the late spring and beginning of summer, and the wheat harvest, which is the wheat harvest is the church. And we are right here. I'm gonna get a closer look at this here to show you guys where we are. So we are right now exactly here in the beginning of this big date, which is the beginning of Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, the wheat harvest. So here's barley, wheat, and fruits. We know that barley was already harvested when? On the 17th day of the first month, when Jesus resurrected from the grave. The same day he resurrected, he also resurrected the barley, the Old Testament saints. They were resurrected as barley in beginning of the spring on the 17th day of the first month. 50 days from this harvest, there's the harvest of the wheat harvest, which is exactly here on the full moon of the third month. Full moon, third month. And then 50 days after the wheat, there are the grapes. The first fruit of grapes are harvested. And then 50 days after the grapes, they harvest oil. This is based on Israel harvesting time. So barley, wheat, grapes, and oil. Oil is harvested 1 week before the fall feasts, which begins with trumpets and ends with tabernacles. So these are the harvests in Israel, and that points to dates, to periods of time, and they are separated by 50 days, or in Greek 50 is Pentecost. So you can call it a Pentecost, and Pentecost, first fruit of wheat, first fruit of grape, first fruits of oil. And we are here at the exact time, the correct time to expect the rapture of the church, which is the wheat. And I have shown you in the last video. I won't keep repeating myself so it doesn't extend much longer the video. So the grapes, they are harvested on the 5th month, which is the Feast of Oil, and also happens on the month of Av, which is the 5th month. And this month, the 9th of Av, is when, on the Noah story, the crow was released, and they didn't return, and it didn't return, a symbol of the Antichrist. And also on the 9th of Av is when Israel prophetically lost both temples. So terrible things happened to Israel on 9th of Av, and I want you to remember this for later on. I created also this quickly timeline to explain to you guys where we are right now. So on the second Passover, we had a blood moon, which was the center point of blood moon in 200 months, in 15 years. Very important blood moon happening in the second Passover on May 16. And then in June, that's where we are right now, in the middle of the month of June, in the full moon, that's when begins the Feast of the Weeks, which many people call Pentecost, and it's also correct if you want to point that way. And it's exactly 1,726 days away from the Revelation 12 sign on September 23rd, 2017. That sign was 3 years and a half, or 1,260 days from the Tetrad, the blood moon Tetrad. And it's very important marker for all of the church. And 1726 is Greek gematria for Holy Spirit, the one that restrains, the restrainer. And it's also 1,000 plus 726. 726 strong, 726 is harpazo, it's rapture, and 1,000 adding to that, it's a fulfillment of that. So it all points to the rapture in this moment of time. And then I showed you wheat here, grapes here in August, in early August for us, and then oil in middle of September. The beginning of the tribulation would be from the 13th to the 27th day of September, which is already very important. Also, I'm going to show you guys very soon. So just to summarize it here, we have Feast of Weeks, Pentecost, the day when in Mount Zion God comes down in a cloud with his fire, the mountain is burning, and then most likely this is the day where we will hear the trumpet and go up the mountain, or be raptured up in the clouds. And that's when it's going to happen, the judgment of the church, the judgment for gifts, the judgment for our deeds on earth. And then Moses, after this, Moses gets down from the first time from Mount Sinai, which I believe will be the descent of Moses and Elijah, plus the 144,000 to preach the gospel of the kingdom to the world during the tribulation. That's when they will caught them in sin. So people will be in sin. The golden calf represents this. And then comes the 9th and 10th of Av, which is the destruction of both temples. That's when the crow is released, and that's why I believe this is the date for the manifestation of the man of sin, which is the first seal of Revelation 6. So the Antichrist is manifested here. And then there's the Feast of Trumpets, the Fall Feast here, Tabernacles, Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Atonement. That's when they will sign a deal for 7 years, and that matches perfectly the 7 years that's left for the 2030 agenda. That's when they will start to the 7-year marker for when we'll all begin. The 7 years also, that if you remember this picture here, comes from Dr. Barry. That's when we will start to go around the city of, I don't remember, but the city that was circulated by Joshua, and then on the 7th cycle they released the trumpet, and the Jericho, the walls of Jericho fell 7 days after they start spinning here. So this is the shadow of this event that will end on Armageddon. So it's 40 days from the rapture to the descent of the 144,000, 10 days away from the manifestation of the man of sin, and then 50 days away from the signing of the deal with many. And there's also the war, which will be most likely stopped by the false aliens, the demons that will come here to stop this. And then there's famine, and there's also death that will come after the man of sin is revealed. So basically I did this, it's in Portuguese unfortunately, but the war with Russia and Ukraine started on February 23rd, 2022. That's when Jupiter was in the water of the constellation of Aquarius. So it means that the water has broken. The water for the baby to be born was broke on the 23rd of February 2022. The rapture has to come all the way until the 18th of June. Antichrist revelation August 6, 2022, and the peace deal the 27th of September 2022. This is the calendar that I'm putting here, the news. It's all in Portuguese, but I will also translate to you. But basically we are watching from the 5th of June all the way until the 18th of June to be the beginning of the Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, Pentecost. We are on the 9th of June right now. So the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th has passed. However, that's not the correct date for Pentecost, for Shavuot. The correct date would be the full moon on the 14th to the 15th of June. And then the third day would be third day would be the 17th, from 17th to 18th of June. This is the correct date for Feast of Weeks, and I'm going to show you very quickly here in the Bible. So Exodus 19, I showed you in the last video as well. In the third month, when the children of Israel gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai, and they camped before the mountain. So on the same day that they left Egypt is when they arrived on Mount Sinai. Please, if you understand the Bible, you know that they killed the lamb on the 14th, and on the 15th they left Egypt. On the 15th they left Egypt. So it's safe to affirm that on the 15th day they get to the mountain. And the 15th day is very important because Israel followed the moon. So the moon is the beginning of the month. The moon is also the end of the month, and the moon is the middle of the month. So always when it's new moon, it's a new month, and always when it's full moon, it's half of the month. So you can safely say that they left on a full moon on the 15th day, and they arrived in Mount Sinai on the full moon on the 15th day of the third month. That's very important for you to understand because Israel right now they have a count. It's 50 days right after Passover, but they are always wrong in calendars. They are always wrong in counting, so they don't quite follow the true calendar of God, which is the moon calendar. So they are wrong most of the times, just as they are now. So I know Pastor Sandy was saying that Pentecost was the 5th and the 6th day of June, but that wasn't even the beginning of the first week. The first week of June, or the first week of the first month, the third month hasn't even finished yet, so it is impossible to be here. The correct date would be 14th to 15th of June to be the exact date when they left Egypt and they arrived at Mount Sinai. And the third day would be the 17th. So full moon, 3 days, 17. So the first resurrection, the harvest of barley, was on the 17th day of the first month. Most likely the 17th day of the third month, which in this year, coincidentally, falls on the 17th day of June as well, is most likely when the rapture, the harvest of wheat, will happen. The third day after the beginning of Pentecost on the full moon. This is very, very important, and I have personal relations to this, because if you get the 17th day of June 2022 and you add 50 days, you get to August 6, 2022. August 6, 2022. Let me show you this very quickly. August 6, 2022 is a very important day in which you guys already know. So October, September, and August. August 2022, the 6th day of August is the 9th of Av. The 9th of Av falls on 6th of August. So perfectly after 50 days after the 3rd day of Shavuot, which most likely will be the rapture, is precisely the 9th of Av, the day where the Antichrist, as I showed you guys here, the day that the Antichrist has to appear. So from the rapture, 50 days precisely goes into the manifestation of the Antichrist. Also 50 days after the wheat harvest would be the grapes, the grape harvest. The grapes that will what? They will be smashed into blood, literally, in the end of tribulation. So the grapes that will be smashed, the Antichrist, the army of the enemy, they will be smashed in the end of the tribulation, 7 years from today. It's precisely the harvest here is precisely in this year, 50 days away from the harvest of wheat on the 3rd day of Shavuot. And this is very personal to me because 6th of August is my birthday. I was born on August 6, 1992. And since the last year I was remembering this date because I didn't like quite as much. You can think of that because my birthday would fall exactly on 9th of Av, and that was not very cool. I didn't like that very much, but that was in my mind. And now, after this personal relation, it made all the sense because my birthday is being used to me to remind me where or when the rapture could be happening 50 days before my birthday. So my third 30 years of birthday, when I'm supposed to be turning 30 on August 6, 2022. Most likely I'll be turning 30 in heaven because 50 days before my birthday I would be there with you guys in the rapture. And then if you get 6th of August 2022 and add 50 days, you get to 25th of September 2022, when it's gonna be 2 days before the Feast of Trumpets on the 27th day of September. So Daniel 27:9 is the deal with many for 1 week, the Antichrist deal. And take a look at this, how awesome this is. The 77th session of the UN General Assembly will fall exactly from the 13th to the 27th of September. So from the 13th of September, beginning of the Feast of Oil, all the way until the Feast of Trumpets, the 27th of September, will happen exactly the 77th session. 77 is the completion. It's completion. So the most likely UN assembly where the beast will be here to to agree on a 7-year deal to fulfill the UN 2030 agenda, which will be literally 7 years away from. It's going to be signing here on the 77th session. So it's a lot of confirmations for us, and this is on the UN website from the 13th to the 27th. in New York will be the 77th session of UN Agenda. So inside this this assembly here, most likely is when they will agree on a 7-year deal for it to fulfill the 2030 agenda. And the beast, the Antichrist, which you can find on the UN channel on YouTube. On the December 2021, they showed a beast of the sea, a dinosaur, giving a speech about climate change, about being extinct on UN. So they are showing that the beast will appear most likely the next year, the following year, which is this year we're now, to give a speech to make a deal for it to fulfill the 2030 agenda. This is very, very, very likely and it's most likely possible, and most likely it will happen this way, and it perfectly fits with the 50-50 that we haven't been seeing here on my channel. Also, I have an app, a Bible app in my cell phone. That is this one called YouVersion. It is in Portuguese, but this app in particular, they count all the days that you are inside this app. They count the days, and you can see here I've been entering this app in the Bible for 1,667 days consecutively. So every day for 1,667 days I have been entering the Bible, and I also encourage all of you that are watching this video to have a daily read of the Bible, have a daily relationship with Jesus personally, because you have to have oil by yourself. You cannot depend on the others. You have to seek Jesus by yourself. So you also have videos and testimonies to give. So you also have the joy and the peace that He promises to all of them that seek Him with a pure heart. Having said that, you can see here that it's a long time that I've been entering the Bible every day for the past 4.5 years. And I remember that 4.5 years ago I missed one day, and I was already at 700 and something days on that, the day that I lost one day, and I had to start all over. So for 4.5 years already I haven't missed a day, but before that I missed one day and I lost a counting of 700 and something in a few days. I'm saying all of this why? You can see here today is the 9th of June, Thursday. That's the 1,667 days. I was quite shocked when Jesus told me that He told me in my mind here to seek this out, because it has a lot of confirmation for me and for the whole body of Christ. Because this is something that I have been doing for a long time. Imagine 4.5 years every day entering, not missing a single day. Something that I've been doing for a long time, and because of this that I've just understood, the 17th day of June, I believed that that day would be the last day when I'm going to be entering the Bible app. So after that day, after the rapture, I'm going to miss one day, and you can see here and count with me. So 67 today, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. So 1,675 would be the last day that I would enter the Bible before the rapture, if the rapture happened here on the 17th day, which I believe will happen. 1,675 will be the last day, and I had the feeling to seek this out, and there were a lot of confirmations. So I searched out the Strong's 1675, and it means two things: an Hellenist, which is a Greek-speaking Jew, so a Jew that can only speak Greek languages, which is us, the Gentiles. This word actually comes from Hellen, which is Gentile, 1672. And the other one you can see here is to fly swiftly, 1675 in Hebrew, da, which is to fly quickly, to fly swiftly, dart through the air. So this is the number 1625 that after 4 years and a half, basically, will be the last number on my Bible app if I don't miss anymore from now until the 17th. So a lot of confirmations to fly swiftly would be, it's amazing. And I came down here and I checked that this word is also used here on 2 Samuel 22:11. Brothers, 2:2:2. 2 Samuel 2:2. That literally is the 222 is the number that we have been speaking for a long time. 222 is voice of God. 222 is the chariot of fire that took Elijah. 222 is there are a lot of confirmations on 222 with division on the 17th day, because Psalms 117 divides the Bible. There's confirmation there as well. I have been showing you on the past video. 222 is very meaningful for all of us. It's voice of God. The mountains is 2022. We are on the year 2022. So 222 is very meaningful, and exactly on 2 Samuel 22, this word is used, and I came to check to read it. I'm gonna read with you guys because it's amazing. Before I read, I just want to go here. It's 2 Samuel 22:11, and this verse says this. Let me just go back here. And he rode upon a cherub and flew, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind, the wings of Ruach. Take a look how awesome this is. The word which I found here, da, which could be tada, which could be a revelation kind of sound, da. To fly swiftly is used on 2 Samuel, on this verse that says, and he rode upon a cherub and flew, and he was seen upon the wings of the Ruach, the wind, the Holy Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh. This is amazing. This is amazing. It's a personal revelation to me and to all of you guys that also believe. I couldn't make this up. I couldn't I couldn't possibly know when the rapture would happen 4 years ago. Although I have been watching 4 years ago, I couldn't see how it would fall on this period of time. So it's amazing to see that it all fits perfectly, even the things, the small details that happens in our life. 2 Samuel 22, it's amazing, and I came to read the whole verse here because it's amazing. So I'm going to show you guys here very quickly until the 17th verse, which is amazing as well. So, and David spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord had delivered him out of the hands of all of his enemies. That's precisely the day that we are literally waiting, brothers and sisters. We are waiting for the deliverance, for the day that the Lord will deliver us from this earth, from our enemies, from those that seek to persecute us, those that seek to do harm to us, and out of the hand of Saul, which was not the king anymore, the false king, which is the Antichrist. We are going to be delivered from him. And he said, the Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer, the God of my rock, in him I will trust. He is my shield and my horn, and the horn of my salvation, my high tower and my refuge, my Savior. Thou savest me from violence, which is going to be happening in tribulation right after we leave. The sudden destruction will happen right after the rapture, the harvest of wheat, the rescue of the bride. I will call on the Lord who is worthy to be praised, so shall I be saved from my enemies. When the waves of death compassed me, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. That's what they are saying in the news constantly. They are making people afraid. It's this problem, that problem. It's a nuclear problem. There are food shortage coming. They are making people afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. But in my distress I called upon the Lord. I cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple. and my cry did enter into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations of heaven moved and shook, because of he was wroth, he was mad. This is gonna be happening when this happened when the foundations of the earth shook. That's when Pentecost, that's when Exodus 19 happened. That's when Moses arrived there on Mount Sinai. That's when the voice of God was heard. That's when the foundations, the earth shook and trembled. And the foundations of heaven will be seen, will move also on in the rapture. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bows the heaven also, and came down. He came down, and darkness was under his feet. He came down. He came down. When he was going to come down, and darkness and clouds will be protecting him from protecting the earth from him. That's when the rapture will happen. That's when Exodus 19 happened. And that's the verse we found. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind. We will fly on the wings of the Holy Spirit, on an angel that will get us, that will harpazo us, that will rapture us out of this earth. He make darkness pavilions round about him, dark waters and thick clouds of skies, because if he doesn't do this, the whole earth will be fulminated because of his glory. So he has to bring clouds, a lot of dark clouds on earth, so his glory doesn't kill all the inhabitants. Because he's not coming to kill, to destroy, he is coming to deliver David and those who are like David, which is us, the church. That's what he's going to do here on the rapture. And then on Armageddon he's going to come without the clouds, because that's when he's going to destroy the armies of the Antichrist. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and Most High uttered his voice. His 222, the voice of God, was heard. On Exodus 19, the voice of God is heard, and 222 is the voice of God. 222 is the chariot that took Elijah. 222, 0, which is the maximum fulfillment of his voice, is about to be heard here on this year. And he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and discomfited them. And the channels of the sea appeared, the foundations of the world were discovered at the rebuking of the Lord, and the blast of breath of his nostrils. Then 17. He sent from above, he took me, he lakashed me, he raptured me. The word used here is the same word he used to take Enoch. So he took me, he raptured me, he took Enoch. He took me and drew me out of many waters. He took me out from many waters, and waters in the Bible are people, nations, and tongues. You can see that in Revelation, the book of Revelation. He took me out of many nations. He took me, he raptured me. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from them that hated me, because we are hated. We are about to be persecuted for our belief, for being anti-system, anti-mainstream. We are about to be persecuted because we are hated by the world. For they were too strong for me. Yes, the giant is too strong. The new world order is too strong. They are creating a whole net, a whole system that will be taking everybody by force. And it's too strong. That's why we're going to be delivered. So you can read the whole chapter here. Is amazing. It's a lot of confirmations for us. And you can see here, cherubim is the angel, probably an order of angelic beings that will get us, that will take us out of this earth. This I told you. And something that I found very interesting, I got this word here. I found it very similar to the word chariot. So I got this word in Hebrew, and I confirmed the gematria, the biblical value. It's 228. So 222 is voice of God, his chariot, and 228 is the cherub, those who will be rapturing, who will be getting us out of this world. 228, I searched the Strong's numbers, and it's called 228 in Greek, true, 228 in Hebrew, to make hot, to heat. So more and more confirmations. It's true, it will be, the heat will be increased. Indeed will be increased, and I can show you guys quickly in the news, because very quickly here, I'm gonna translate in English for you guys to see. So the first minister of Israel urges the UN organ to that check on Iran nuclear advancements. He urges on the 7th day of June, so 2 days ago, he urges the UN organ to delay Iran's nuclear program. Otherwise, Iran will pay a high price. So it's a threat to Iran, and it's a pushing. They are urging UN to stop or delay Iran nuclear program. Otherwise, they will pay a huge price. And right after, on the 8th day of June, so yesterday, the chief of IAEA laments Iran will go nuclear. Unfortunately, he said that Iran will go nuclear. So on the seventh day, literally, Israel asks for them to delay, but on the 8th day they lament because they confirm that Iran will go nuclear because of this. Iran says it has turned off 2 UN cameras devices at their nuclear site. So Iran is taking out the cameras that searches that checks on their progress for nuclear weapons, and the minister, the UN, the chief of the organ that fiscalizes this, laments but says that Iran will go nuclear eventually. So basically, this shows us that the moment is this moment. The moment that we are expecting here is correct. We are seeing things heat up, and it's just a matter of time before Israel strike Iran. Iran is already confirmed to pursue nuclear weapons, and it's very, very close. And the organ that checks on Iran just said on yesterday that they will go nuclear indeed. So it's a matter of time. We are on this time. We are right now in this period of time that it will all folds out just like we are expecting. And for us, this is very good news because we are seeing the sudden destruction almost here, and we know we're going to be leaving before the sudden destruction. So most likely here, anytime from now until the 17th, the 18th of June is the moment where we can expect the rapture to happen, because we can't stretch it any longer. All of the patterns, all of the prophecies, it all points to this moment of time here. Before it won't be perfect like it is right now. 1 year from now, all these patterns they will be broken. So it is a matter of belief and certainty that this is the moment where we are expecting to leave, to be raptured. And I believe on the 14th to the 15th, from the 14th to the 15th, that's when the full moon will be spotted, and 3 days after the full moon, that's when the rapture will happen, precisely on the 17th day of the 3rd month, which will be 17th day of June. So the first harvest, 17th day of the 1st month, the wheat harvest, 17th day of the 3rd month, and the last harvest, 17th day of the 7th month. It makes sense. 17 is division. 17, Psalms 117 is the vision of the Bible. 17 fits perfectly, and it's perfectly aligned to the 9th of Av, which is perfectly aligned to the Feast of Trumpets. It all fits perfectly, perfectly. They're calling the June full moon the strawberry moon. I don't know why, but they're calling the strawberry full moon. It's gonna be a super moon. And just to finish up some things here, I have some more important news to show that confirms this even more. So apparently there were a huge earthquake in Russia. They're telling that it's a 8 magnitude, which is very, very, very strong. This could be a test, a nuclear test. I'm not sure, but it can be a nuclear test in Russia. This is a news that appeared here in Brazil. I'm not sure if it appeared in international media, but in Brazil, 4 alien civilizations could attack Earth, researcher warns. This is a preparation for them to present aliens. It's a preparation for them to deceive people after the rapture, saying that was an enemy alien civilization that attacked Earth and took people out of here. So after the rapture, they will come up with this excuse, with this deceit. It will be a huge deceit that will happen, and most likely they will do it by claiming it was an alien civilization that attacked Earth, and they have to unite into one world government to prepare for the 2nd or 3rd wave or the 5th wave, as they said in the movies. They have to unite the world to fight against this alien, which they will be calling God, an alien, an enemy. So this is the preparation. It is happening. Also, this new disease, the monkeypox, it's increasing. There's over 1,000 cases, according to the not trustworthy WHO organization from the UN. But it's growing, growing, and growing. This monkey disease most likely comes from the monkeys that were unfortunately made as lab rats to the system, the Satan system that literally bite all of them with the, you know what I'm talking about. I cannot extend on this because YouTube will literally take the video out, but this monkey disease comes from most likely the thing that happened last year, where those that were lab rats unfortunately agreed to receive something in their body, and that's terrible, terrible, terrible. What else? We have some other news here. Some other news. Oh yeah, something that I forgot to tell in Portuguese, but I'm gonna tell you guys in English. I had a dream a couple days ago where I was about to go into a new apartment, and the number of the new apartment was 1723. 1723. I was expecting 1726, which is the restrainer, Holy Spirit, and I know it has a relation to the rapture. 726 is rapture, but it was 1723. 1723, and then I went out to search 1723 in the Strong's Concordance, and it's something amazing that is. In Hebrew means dahava, which means that is. And then in Greek, 1723 is to take. So it's dahava, that is, and in Greek, to take into one's arms, to embrace. So in my dream, the number of the new apartment that I would receive means that is to take into one's arms, to be embraced. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Another confirmation for me personally, and for all of you to believe as well. Then I searched out Mark 10, Mark 9 and 10, and it's talking about Jesus and the kids. He take them into their arms. He precisely he's talking about here with the kids. So he take the kids in his arms. The only two times this is used is to talk about taking kids into this arm. The kingdom of heaven is like they that received it as a kid. So this is amazing, another confirmation for me. I forgot to say this in Portuguese, but here it is in English. Before I finish here, I just want to show a couple more news here, which is the apocalypse coming. So in Portuguese, this was the news that appeared here. I'm going to translate in English. Translate in English. Former Russian president says the Knights of the Apocalypse are on their way. So the Knights on Revelation 6 are on their way, and that's the former Russian president that said that on June 6th. This became a headline here in Brazil. I'm not sure if it became a headline here there in America, but this is amazing because we are literally seeing this being this coming into the world as we see the news. What else? They are expecting a huge food shortage. So UN here, it's warning. UN warns current food crisis could lead to a worldly catastrophe in 2023. So the 7 years of famine will begin in this next Shemitah cycle, which is in September. The 7 years of famine, after the 7 years of plenty we had, 7 years of signs in the sky and earth and the Bible and everything. So the 7 years of famine has everything to start in this next Shemitah cycle, and UN is warning precisely that the food crisis, the famine is coming, and it's one of the apocalypse writers as well. Let me see if there's any other news here to show. Russia is supporting Iran. Iran is crossing an inevitable line, says the director of EIAA. What else? Brazil is about to enter a civil war on this next election that will happen in November, supposedly, but it's after the rapture, most likely. Aliens to attack the Earth, which is preparation for the great deception. The president of Russia, Putin, he was treated for cancer, so he has nothing to lose. He has nothing to lose but to start this war. He's threatening OTAN, NATO as well. And yeah, basically that's it. In Brazil, they began in Brazil to implant microchips in people. So it took a while to start here in Brazil, but they are literally implanting in Brazil microchips. So the body chip that will have personal information begins to be implanted in Brazil and the south of Brazil, and people are receiving here on their right or hand a microchip that has information. This is happening here in Brazil. So it's a preparation as well to the mark of the beast, if it's not the mark of the beast itself. Germany telling people to stock food for 10 days or longer. Russia doing nuclear tests. A lot of things are happening here. There will be an alignment of 5 planets in the sky in this June, precisely right now in the early morning. Well, all of the news are also pointing out to this exact same time that we are expecting right now. So if you watch this video, if you are watching for the rapture, if you are expecting, if you love Jesus, if you are a bride of Christ, get ready, because most likely this next days from today until the 18th will be the day that the rapture will happen. Most likely this will happen because we cannot stretch any longer before a lot of things crumbles down on us. A lot of things, a lot of patterns that are happening right now breaks, and then we wouldn't know what to think anymore. So most likely the next few weeks will be the rapture. I believe it will be on the 17th day of June, 3 days away from the full moon, which will be the beginning of the Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks. And I'll be expecting to meet all of you that are here, that believe, that are ready, that have a personal relationship with Jesus, to meet you all guys in the cloud very, very shortly. God bless all of you that came to this video to understand, to have the revelations that I give you, and I hope to see you all in the cloud very, very soon. Maranatha. I hope that you are all blessed by this message. I hope that this makes you get even more ready and to say to people that we can believe that this is the moment we are expecting for a long, long time. Maranatha, my brothers. Maranatha.